Justin's been hurt in the last 2 games. Wisconsin did not score on you in the first time you played him. Did you give any thought to, or would you give any thought to, not starting him, giving him time to fully heal, seeing where you are at halftime, or sitting him the whole game Saturday?
No.
Why not?
No.
Why not?
He'll be playing, and we'll use him all 60 minutes.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to know on Paul Chryst. I know you watch film, you're watching defenses, but there's no defense out there unless there's an offense. So do you gather enough scouting defenses, watching Wisconsin, that I'd say you're an aggressive play caller and it kind of fits your personality, or you always talk about toughness and things like that. I see evidence of how you call plays and the kind of person you appear to be to us. Do you see evidence of him and a play caller personality, or just anything there, admiration, or what do you see in his style of play calling from the times you run across what they do?
Yeah, I think, again, I got a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Chris and how he does things. He has a system, and he allows his kids to play in that system. He's got enough wrinkles to keep you off balance. But what he does, they're just very fundamentally sound. It's just hard to find an inch on them because everything they do is so sound. They're not going to run bad plays and the bad looks. They're not going to just give you the ball and turn it over. He's been like that ever since he started coaching, and that's why they've been so successful. And it's he and that whole coaching staff. He put together a great staff there, and all 3 phases they do an excellent job.
Last thing, here in recent weeks, you've mentioned one time in here, and then Sunday on your conference call, you mentioned where you guys were picked preseason, and it kind of frosted you where you were picked. I wonder why, or is it a purposeful mentioning of that at this point in time that you feel like there's a usefulness in it from a motivational standpoint? Like maybe it's just it ticked you off, people didn't have faith in you, or why is it that you seem to be emphasizing that more now?
Well, I think the only thing that catches me sometimes is that early in the preseason and coming into the season, they didn't think much of us, and then we do what we're doing now, and a lot of people don't give these kids enough credit, in my opinion, and a lot of people just say, well, they're just very talented. Well, if we're that talented, then why didn't you pick us that way early in the season? These kids deserve, in my opinion, a lot of credit for what they've done this season. And you retooled a whole defense, you retooled an offensive line, you had a quarterback who had never had a college start walking into the season, and right now we're undefeated going to play for the whole thing. And I think these kids deserve that. And when I hear people say, well, they're just talented, they're not just talented. This is a team with great leaders, great toughness, great chemistry. The way that they're playing with disciplined football, there's so much that goes into that, and they've worked really hard to have this opportunity. I think they deserve the credit.
So you take the talent label as kind of an insult?
A little bit, yeah. When I hear that, I just think it's the same talent that was here early in the season, and they had us ranked low. So what's the difference now? But we do have a lot of talent, and we have some great players on the team, and they deserve the credit that's coming their way.
Front row right, Austin. I'm sorry, front row right, Tim.
Okay, you got us mixed up. Is part of that too, though? Y'all had a first-time full-time head coach. There's a lot of people had questions about what have you proven yourself to this point, Ryan? I mean, because that's part and parcel to what you're talking about.
I don't know about that. It's about the players and his coaching staff, really. I mean, they're the ones who do it all, and it's all about the players. And I do think our coaching staff has done a good job, on defense, putting in the new system. We've had some new pieces to this thing, and I think the offensive staff has done a good job adapting to a new group and taking on a new identity. I think Matt Barnes has done an excellent job in special teams, and but most importantly, it's the leaders, because any great team I've been on, it's player driven, and so whether it's the seniors or guys who have been in the program for 3 and 4 years, their approach and maturity day in and day out has been the difference.
2 other quickies. You were talking about that feeling of relief on Saturday when that game was done and watching the players and their joy. When did it snap into you that there's another huge game to play here now? And are you kind of feeling taking your feelings the way you've adjusted and trying to portray that to the players? Because y'all are kind of part and parcel of the whole thing.
Well, that happened when we looked coming off the bye week. We said we had the Maryland Rutgers game, and then we knew we had this run right here, and so we talked about it coming off of that bye week. And when we took that picture, we said, if you beat Penn State, you're going to go play for the Big Ten championship, and then there's a rivalry game. And so I think they have a bigger picture of that and perspective of what's going on, and they knew it was going to be 3 tough, emotional, hard games in a row. And so we're in it. So they knew what to expect, but now that we're in it, it's just the focus on the game right now. And so I think they've had some awareness of it, and we'll have a good week of practice.
Yeah, you know, Archie Griffin was on my podcast this week, but he talked about this, the focus of this team from week to week. I'm not promoting that, but I'm just
Humble
saying-
brag. Humble brag.
The focus of this team from week to week has been remarkable. How has it been to you from your vantage point? When did it become aware, when did you become aware that this team could do that?
I think it was gradually over time. I think you know that trip to Nebraska was a big challenge for us, just going on the road and kind of seeing where we're at. Then we kind of hit adversity in the Wisconsin game the first time, and then we started to build, and you know the Michigan State game wasn't perfect, but we kind of worked through that. And then you know the Penn State game was really the big first hard spot we were in where we lost the momentum. We had to get it back. Top 10, you know, win there, and then I think, you know, going into the rivalry game, you know, playing the way we did, it's just kind of been a gradual. I can't say it's been one moment, but as time's gone on, I think we felt more and more confident in who we are.
6th row right, Jeremy?
Ryan, obviously what Ari said earlier makes sense. Having the class almost full was relatively stress-free for the next 2 weeks in your group, but with all the coaching changes happening around the country, is there any sense of in the future, like maybe saying, hey, maybe let's save a few spots towards the end just in case there's guys that maybe re-pop or reopen up on the trail? Like, how do you handle that moving forward?
No, I don't think it changes anything. You know, I think we rank our guys the best we can, and then we find out who want to be Buckeyes too. That's a huge part of this thing. And so, even if we have somebody maybe ranked a little higher than another person, if one of them wants to be a Buckeye and wants to play in that rivalry game, wants to play in the horseshoe, that matters to us. So we take all those things into consideration, and we try to be as aggressive as we can on the recruiting trail. You know, there are times where we leave spots open just in case to see what happens, to your point. But, you know, we were kind of hot this year, and a lot of guys were jumping on board. We felt great with the guys that we have.
How much has the transfer portal and all that stuff changed that approach? I mean, is there a sense of in the future leaving 1 or 2 extra spots maybe than you want to?
It has changed things for sure, and there's definitely wiggle room in there, and you have to try to forecast the best you can. I know that's you know, a tough thing, but it's just the way it is nowadays, and we certainly you know, don't want to see anybody leave, and I think we've built a culture here where nobody would want to leave, but we always have to forecast. Yeah.
Got time for just a few more questions. Front row, middle. Joey?
Ryan, your guys' Twitter account this morning had like a graphic with JK, Chase, Justin, like a Heisman Trophy promotional thing.